There is hope that Grand Theft Auto 6 will cost as much as $100. Oh boy, did I call this! I think I put it in the title of the first ArchCast episode the week the trailer was released. Grand Theft Auto is gonna cost $100. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if it cost more than $100. It's guaranteedly going to have a collector's edition for $120, $140, $160, and people will slick it up like mad. It's probably going to have one of those streamer tax early release windows where it's going to cost $140, but you'll play it 3 days early, and every bastard out there with a YouTube channel is just going to sigh and open their wallets. And hey, I'm not criticizing, I'm going to do the same because yeah, this is going to be an industry milestone that might make or break, mind you, a lot of companies. See, there's a lot of problems surrounding this potential price hike to $100. First and foremost, Grand Theft Auto 6 isn't going to sell at $100 because of the quality of the game, because, well, we don't know the quality of the game yet. It could be amazing, maybe it might even be worth $100, but that's not why it's going to sell at that price. It's going to sell at that price because of Grand Theft Auto 5. And because this is going to be the single largest release, the single most covered release in gaming history. But that a lot of other companies are now looking at that and thinking, ooh, maybe we can do this too. Maybe we can get away with a price increase as well. That is rather worrying, because here's the thing. This is all coming at the cost of the average consumer, right? You may remember that it wasn't that long ago that video games increased their base price for AAA games from $60 to $70, and the industry was like, "Oh, don't worry, this will be it. It'll solve everything. It'll be fine. You know, it's just adjusting for a little bit of inflation. It'll be great." The moment they started charging $70, they started asking themselves, why not charge $80, and so on. And right now, the gaming industry at large is heading towards a massive confrontation with China. We all know it, we can all see it, and remember Marvel Rivals release. The game came out, it was fully playable, you could connect to the servers, there was no queues, there were no problems, no crashes, no nothing except the in-game cash shop didn't work. In sharp contrast to, the Diablo 3 release, or 4, or many AAA games today which release in a buggy, broken state, with unfinished functions or mechanics, or having poor online services, or shitty servers, or a dozen other things, but the cash shop always works, doesn't it? And there ends the kicker. Charging $60, $70, or even $100 for a video game is trading in on the good name and the reputation of the video game developer. It is saying, hey, you trust me because I made this game, therefore I'm gonna ask for 10 more bucks because, inflation, increasing costs, etc., I'm good for it. That's basically what they're saying. And in an environment where they are good for it, or if that is your only option, you might go like, okay, fine, here's the $70. But in an environment where a major competitor is rearing its head, capable of producing video games more quickly, at a frankly higher quality level as well, and cheaper than the West is, going, hey, we're gonna give this to you for free, well, shit. That's going to be a very large problem, as it's going to see the Western games industry again begin to eat away at their own good faith, their own trust, and their own, consumers, giving them the benefit of the doubt. Whereas their major contributor, which is more than happy, capable, and able to afford taking a short-term hit for long-term gains, is going to, hoover up all of that good faith instead. I mean, look at TikTok. It is the most obvious political propaganda app in history, and yet it still has people defending it in enormous numbers. Video games would be even easier. And here's the thing. Grand Theft Auto 6 might be able to get away with this because the game has cost, a mention of upwards of 100 million, so on? It's a ridiculously expensive video game, and probably of ridiculously high quality as well. Probably. It can get away with it. Can Assassin's Creed Shadows? Could Concord? No. We're not in an era of unfathomably high-quality video games now, and so asking an even higher price for a lesser quality product it's not going to go over very well with a lot of people. It's going to mean that the entrance point to video games is going to be higher, and the willingness to abandon studios is also going to be lower. If you get screwed over for a mediocre or bad game for $60, you'll be like, ugh, god damn it, okay. I'm going to remember that. I'm going to hold a grudge for a while over that, but you'll get over it. Creative Assembly is a perfect example of this. They released Total War Rome 2 as a bug and brokey unfinished mess at least 6 months away from release, and people forgave them. Now, get asked to pay $100 for that? I think that's gonna sting somewhat more, particularly as they mention here, during a period of rising prices and inflation. And that's not just for the video game companies, it's for all of us. It's a rising cost and inflation for all of us. And video games, at the end of the day, they are a luxury. If you get screwed out of $100 for a bad game, you're gonna remember that for a while. And I also do not believe that the industry is going to have the wherewithal around it to understand when it's made a mistake. Let's say that it releases Grand Theft Auto 6, $100, it's a good game. But then everybody else is like, okay, we can get away with $80, maybe $90. Then they release a bad game, and now nobody trusts them. Nobody believes them. Now nobody watches or buys their next product. This is what happened with Star Wars and Skeleton Crew, which has even lower ratings than The Acolyte. At the end of the day, fan good faith and trust is a finite resource that must be resupplied. Every time you take away from it, you are cutting into that finite resource until, eventually, you will simply run out. And then it's not a question of paying $80, it's a question about being paid $0. It's 60 or nothing at that point. And even then, I mean, the Total War series has demonstrated that $60 is now too much. Initially, the fans of Total War were willing to accept the $60 price tag for a glorified expansion pack in the form of Medieval, God help me, Warhammer Total War 2. I decried that as a foul move at the time, but I was brushed off. Then came 3, and people were beginning to grumble a little bit. $60 for this again? And then, of course, eventually came Egypt, or Pharaoh, more correctly, and now people really started getting upset, because again, the total amount of good faith gets chipped away at and chipped away at and chipped away at until there is nothing left. The game industry seems to be inherently destructive in this regard, and we haven't even mentioned, of course, the reality that games don't cost $60, then it costs $70, they don't cost $100. They cost the price of entry plus. I mean, look at Europa Universalis today. How many hundreds of dollars would it be to buy all of that? Or, Total War Warhammer, how many hundreds of dollars is that? And with a game like GTA, you're going to have microtransactions. How much would it cost to buy everything in Grand Theft Auto 6? Probably, again, several $100s. And yet they still have the ball to complain about inflation and spiraling costs, as if that's our fault. I didn't make you hire 800 people, Creative Assembly. You have actually made your games worse, and that's the worst part too. Gaming isn't exactly in the midst of some enormous renaissance right now. We're not having a bigger and better and more revolutionary games come out every other week like in 2000. No, if anything, they're getting worse. You can make a list of the amount of features that were removed from Total War Medieval 2 to a modern day game, and it'll cover dozens of pages of an Excel spreadsheet, goddammit. And yet the prices keep increasing, whilst the quality keeps decreasing. Seriously, I do not think that the industry should be hoping for this. They should be looking to cut costs, because they are about to enter into a period of increased competition where a hungry rival comes up from behind with dead set goals of claiming the title of cultural hegemon that is going to take advantage of every error the West makes. The first was War Against Sexy Women, which Marvel rival sweeps in and goes, hey, we're just going to put a hot chick in a skin-tight suit, you want to buy it? People do, as it turns out. And if they decide to also, near double the price, this could be a very, very, very large industry-wide mistake. But we shall have to wait and see. Grand Theft Auto can get away with it. Can Ubisoft? Can Electronic Arts? Nuh-uh. Can Epic? Probably not. No, and that again is the big clincher here. Now, this, by the way, came from another, far larger, more detailed survey, which we might have a look into later, because it actually looks pretty goddamn good. But I feel like this deserved its own special mention, because this could be so much worse than just an increase in the price of video games. Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a good day.